Welcome to Lawyers Without Billboards, where we break down family law and other areas of the law. No gimmicks, no legal jargon, just real, unfiltered talk from real lawyers. Join your hosts, Steve, Patty, Jimmy, and Alexa, partners at Shewmaker Lewis, a law firm based in Atlanta, Georgia. Every episode, they tackle the legal questions that matter most: divorce, custody, child support, alimony, and everything in between. They'll pull back the curtain to give you real insights on what happens inside the courtroom and beyond.
All right. Hello, everybody. It's Alexa and Jimmy Lewis and me and my wife, Patty, and we're back for another episode of Lawyers Without Billboards. Today, we're going to talk about courthouse food stories, otherwise known as Does Food Matter in Litigation? Let's talk about this. And it looks like it's on the lighter side, but I don't think it's light. What do y'all think? Is this light?
Nobody wants to litigate when they're hangry.
No,
Okay.
and I think it's important when you're at the courthouse thinking about where you're going to have lunch.
Well, Jimmy, we're going to get into that deeply.
yes.
Jimmy, why is food important in court? Give me reasons.
Well, if you are hungry and you can't function properly, you're probably not going to do well in court as a litigator or litigant.
That's a good reason. There's the word hangry that's come around in our lifetime. There's also just low blood sugar is not your friend.
Yeah.
Now, there's another reason. Anyone think of the other reason?
Because lunch is a good time to spend some time with your client, going over what's happened so far in the morning, and to maybe update, adjust, things like that. It's a strategy session.
Check out the big brain on Patty, because that's exactly where I was going with this. It also gives you an opportunity to yell at your dumbass client.
Oh, yes.
Well, that and also there have been more times than I can count where a client goes, "No, I can't eat anything. I'm too stressed."
Bullshit.
And I say, "No,
This.
I'm going to force you to eat something because if you pass out on the stand or you can't pay attention to what's going on, that's going to ultimately be wildly detrimental to your case."
Yeah,
Jimmy?
take 2 bites of something.
Yeah.
Jimmy is right. And what I tell my clients even before court is I say, whatever you would normally eat for breakfast, you need to eat the day of court. I don't want you starving yourself for exactly the reasons Jimmy said. Now, we have 23 metro counties in the Atlanta area, but we go more broadly at Shewmaker and Lewis than those 23 counties, don't we?
Yes.
Okay. How far out do we go, y'all?
How far is the state?
Well, yeah, we generally cover from the Tennessee border down to Macon and across to Columbus. But we have occasionally gone to Valdosta, Savannah, if the money was right. If
Right.
it could be okay. But here's what I want to focus on. I want to talk about
Favorite restaurants by courthouses.
Yeah, Rob will edit that out. What I want to talk about regarding the rest of this topic is, number one, I want to focus y'all on 2 things. First of all, question. I'll ask you first, Patty. Does the law in Georgia require, or where in the law does it say that the judge has to break for lunch and dinner so the parties can eat something? Where is it at? Where's that in the law?
It's not.
Okay, y'all
I wish
agree
it
with Patty?
was. I wish it was.
Y'all agree with Patty?
Yeah.
I agree, but I also think that most judges are human too, and if nothing else, even if it's not for purposes of consuming food, even judges need a break from being on the bench.
Don't disagree with you, and I was going to get to that. But first of all, there's no legal requirement that a judge break. So here's the question: what do you typically see judges do?
Well, and and typically you see judges take a break for lunch.
How long?
Usually an hour, sometimes an hour and a half, which I think is too long.
Is it
what
always?
I've been running into more.
Is it always a set time?
No, it's not always a set time. Sometimes it depends on the flow of the trial. One of the things I will say, though, kind of to Jimmy's point, I do appreciate the judges who. Now, it's nice if they give you advance warning and say, "Hey, look, we're only going to take a 15-minute break for lunch because we got to get this case done, or we have so much to do today." I appreciate that, and then you bring something along with you to eat. And so, what I don't appreciate is sometimes judges can't help it, right? Sometimes they have something going on. But when they take a 2-hour break for lunch, and you're sitting there in court, and
So-
your client is paying you for your time.
So don't get ahead of me here.
Okay.
So right now, can we all agree that the law does not require a judge to give you a lunch break?
Correct.
Can we all agree that judge by judge, it could be either no lunch or the lunch could be at times you can't predict?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when we go through this, I want to talk about, because we're going to talk about Metro County courthouses in a second. I want to talk about if you get a lunch break, I'm talking about can you walk to lunch? I don't want to talk about driving
All
20
right.
minutes to a restaurant. Can you walk to lunch is the focus, number one. And number two, should you bring snacks to court? So here's my question. And in fact, let me give you an anecdote why this is so important to me. I tried a court-martial down at Fort Benning one time. So this is a military criminal case with a jury. They call it a panel, though. And the judge who came in was the same judge that Bo Bergdahl had in that famous Bo Bergdahl Afghanistan case, a guy named Nance, Judge Nance. And Judge Nance got all the attorneys together on the first day of trial, and he said, look, there's a shopette across the street, like a gas station on Fort Benning. He says, right across the street. You can get beef jerky and granola bars there. The jury will be released at regular times for lunch and dinner. And they will work Monday through Friday. You guys won't work that way. You go over there and get your snacks because we will work through their lunches on anything that we have to do. And if I have to work you guys on weekends, I will work you on weekends.
Oh boy.
Now, that would have been a shock of cold water to the face. It would have been a punch in the gut to your average Atlanta litigator. I thought it was refreshing because what I'm used to in Atlanta is 2-hour lunches from these judges or unpredictable times. So, Jimmy, you were going to say something?
Yeah. So, kind of as far as judges releasing everybody in the courtroom, depending on what's going on. Like, for example, Patty and I were on the same calendar in DeKalb County a couple weeks ago, and we ended up we didn't even release I Blame Patty until like 12:45 for lunch,
it was my hearing.
because Patty's hearing started at like 11:45, and then
But it was a good hearing to listen to.
It was actually hilarious, mainly because the opposing party just numbers were really difficult for him to understand. That wait, you've received $65,000 from this, but it has no monetary value. Yes, and so like in that case, the judge was like, all right, I'm going to get through this thing on the calendar, and then here, it's now almost 1 o'clock. Yes, that's not ideal to some people, but the judge just kind of went with what they had. And then we released for a little while, came back. You know, I think that's what judges have to do. They kind of have to just play it by ear most of the time.
Well, here's my question to the group. I guess we'll start with you, Alexa, because you've been a little bit quiet right now. Should you bring snacks to court?
Yes, 100,000,000%.
What kind of snacks?
Wait, no,
So-
back up, because Alexa has a great story on a case that her and I.
Oh my God! So
And thank God Alexa brought snacks that day.
I always carry snacks to court because you never know. Cindy Alter gives me crap because we had a case we tried in Douglas County several years ago where I always have a lunchbox with stuff in it. I have snacks, I have water, whatever. And Douglas County is really strict about what you can bring in the courthouse. And somehow I put it through security every damn day. They never said a word to me. And she got yelled at for trying to bring a water bottle. So she gives me crap. But to go to your point, so Patty and I had a case in Macon County that went all day long. We got 0 lunch break. We got maybe a couple 10-minute breaks, 5-minute breaks.
And we went to like 7 o'clock.
We went till late. And thank God we hit the Chick-fil-A on the way home. But I had snacks, and that was the only way we survived that case.
What's the latest you've ever been in court, time of day late?
Ooh,
Alexa?
it might have been that case, about 7:30, whatever time we
How
were
about
there.
you, Jimmy?
8:45, Judge Glanville.
Patty?
I would say 7, 8 o'clock.
I would say 7 or 8 o'clock in domestic court in Georgia. I've been in court past midnight in military court.
Yeah.
So the point is, you are smart to bring food because you don't know if you'll get a break.
Correct.
Now, the next thing I want to say to you or ask you is I want to talk about, remember, when we're talking about different counties in Atlanta, we're talking about what you can walk to. Because we could all get in a car and drive, but frequently, do you find that the judge gives you enough time to drive?
No.
It depends on how far you have to drive.
Okay,
I've
that's
definitely
fair.
had the hour-and-a-half case where there's something right over there, but you don't really want to walk. Like you could, but you don't want to.
Or it's a more rural county. And
Right.
So driving 2 miles
It's
takes
super easy.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
For the
exactly.
listeners, Patty comes from Nebraska, and she says the word rural, like rural. Nobody really knows what she's saying unless you know the context of the sentence. So it's rural,
Yeah,
not
I'm
rural.
I'm glad
Okay.
we have you here to translate Nebraska.
I'm trying. I've learned it. I have learned it. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drive you all. I actually went on this morning before this podcast, and I figured out the top 12 most populous Georgia counties.
All right.
They're not all in the Atlanta metro area, but most of them are counties that we cover. So we're going to start with, no big surprise, the biggest, and this is not by landmass, but by population. The biggest county in Georgia is
Fulton?
Fulton County, with just over 1 million people, and all the other counties. We're going to go from the Fulton County Courthouse at 185 Pryor Street. That'll be the benchmark that we measure things from. So Fulton County, only what's unique about Fulton County and divorce?
You have a
family law.
family division.
It's the only one that has a dedicated family division of four judges, and then they each have judicial officers. Does a lot by Zoom still?
Yes.
Okay.
Which is preferable, particularly for status conferences.
Right. Now, do they have a cafeteria in the courthouse?
Ish.
If you
Ish.
want to call it that.
Ish.
Right. And I was on the phone last night with Phil McCurdy of counsel to us, a good attorney, and I asked him some questions about food and courthouses to get his input, and he told me, and because Phil's old enough to know this, because he's old, he's like really old. Let me emphasize that Phil McCurdy is old.
I mean, he's older than you,
He's
so
old
that
as my
means he's
dad.
practically a dinosaur.
Yes,
Hey, he's as old as my dad. My dad's not that old.
Here's my Phil McCurdy puppet,
Nice.
the dinosaur puppet, and he said, "Well, you know, Steve, Fulton used to have a really good cafeteria upstairs," and I said, "For real? It had a cafeteria? Because now it's bad."
Yeah,
and he said,
we've been at that cafeteria
no.
years ago.
years ago, and it's still there, but it's not what it used to
No.
be.
Oh, no.
Now when we talk about what it used to be, back when I started practicing law about 20 years ago, there, right on Forsyth Street, a half a block from the courthouse, there used to be a very nice sit-down Italian restaurant.
Yeah.
I actually searched to try to find its name. I couldn't find it. But I'd eaten there many times in law school and when I first started out. But the quality of the restaurants within walking distance of the Fulton County Courthouse has nosedived. In fact,
bad.
I remember the Underground, and I watched it slowly die. But
Yeah, because when we first started practicing, you still had restaurants at the Underground that you could walk over to.
Steve and I went to one, like Johnny Rockets, something
Yeah.
like that. We had a case years ago. I think it was Judge Shube.
yes.
And you and I had a trial there, and we went to Underground.
Yes, we got
for lunch.
shubed that day. Yes, as a matter of
That's
fact, we got
a matter of
shubed
fact.
Patty and I
hard.
went to Underground one time when we had actually twice, one in front of Judge Lane, one in front of Judge Barwick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There used to be fairly good dining in the Underground, which is abandoned now, and some local restaurants within a block or two. I'm sure someone listening will say, no, if you go this way and this way and this way, half a mile away, there's a good deli. But generally speaking, when you go to the Fulton County Courthouse, are you walking to lunch?
No.
No.
Is this a place where you think you must bring food?
Yes.
Yes.
Who are you bringing food for?
Oh, myself and probably some extra snacks for my client, but I'm definitely telling my client, pack
Bring the
snacks.
snacks.
Good. And that's part of your preparation.
Oh, yeah. Well, they, to be fair, they do have some vending machines as well. So, you're not totally
and,
SOL.
And a lot of times Fulton County will bring in a cooler full
Or
of
they used
Chick-fil-A
to.
sandwiches.
They used
sell.
to. I'm not sure if they do
I
anymore.
don't know.
All right, now let's switch gears. Happily, the smiley face is coming out. The sun is shining. North of Fulton County, we have Georgia's third largest county by population, Cobb County. That has about 775,000 people. It's 20 miles northwest of the Fulton County Courthouse at the city center. Would you say it is similar to Fulton or a world apart?
World apart.
A world apart. Wow, everybody agrees there.
Because it's right off of the Mayretta
Well,
Square.
Mayretta
Don't,
Square.
don't be getting ahead of me. Inside the courthouse, underneath the escalator on the ground floor,
There's
what do
the
we
tiny
find?
little coffee,
Coffee shop.
The coffee concession, which is nice and it's clean and it's good, right?
Unless you
Oh, yeah.
don't drink coffee.
Yeah, then
Right.
you're
Then
you
SOL.
can have hot chocolate, but it's good and it's there
tea.
most of the day. It's by the clerk's office under the escalator.
Communist.
People who don't drink coffee are
Yes,
communists.
apparently.
Indeed, I agree. Okay, but
There's no
regarding
communists that
Cobb
come from
County,
Nebraska.
regarding Cobb County, we're talking about Cobb County, not Nebraska, Stan. Cobb County. As Patty said, it's right off the city square, the Mayretta Square.
Mayretta Square.
So talk to me about the Mayretta Square. What is it within walking distance of the courthouse?
Yes.
Okay, so unlike Fulton, you can easily walk to lunch in the given time.
Yes, you can.
Where do you go?
Oh,
Go ahead.
Taqueria Tsunami.
Oh, hell yeah. They've
Love
got
taqueria
those
tsunami.
barbecue tacos and those Korean barbecue tacos and all the other tacos.
All the other time. Did you know Patty didn't know there's one right down the road from here?
I did not know that.
I didn't know that because
Yes.
we're talking about Cobb County right now.
But here's the problem with Cobb County, right?
What?
Mayretta Square gets busy,
Real
so
busy.
depending on when the judge releases you for lunch, you may be screwed anyway.
Now, real quick, I did find recently, because Taqueria Tsunami was very, very busy,
Right.
walked down the road just a little bit. They had a really great ramen place.
What's it called?
Ramen place.
Ramen place. I don't know.
Mayretta,
I don't know.
Mayretta ramen.
Here's what
There
I'll
you
say. Here's what I'll
There you
say.
go.
The south side of the Mayretta Square is where you find Taqueria Tsunami.
Yep.
Right before that, you find the Corner Shop, which is that sandwich shop that
yeah.
we've gone to many times. Great sandwiches. Only criticism is the sandwiches can be pretty damn big.
Yeah.
Sure.
You get a lot for your money. And on the other end of Taqueria Tsunami, there's Marietta Pizza.
Pizza,
All
they're
along
great.
the south edge of Marietta Square. I'll tell you, the last time I went to Taqueria Tsunami up there, I had concluded a divorce case, which we mediated in the hallway and settled it. Sent our parties home. And I looked at my opposing counsel, Lindsay Dodson, over at Shockley
Dodson Deeb.
Dobson Deeb. Lindsay, great lady, good attorney. And I said, you owe me one thing. And she's like, what's that? I said, I'm going to take you to lunch. And we went to Taqueria Tsunami, and we had a wonderful time, just as attorneys should, just talking about anything but the case. So do you bring snacks or no snacks to Cobb County?
I still bring
I still bring
snacks
snacks.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Right, because if you start wigging out in court and you're nowhere near a break,
Yep.
you need to reach down into your bag and break out that Luna bar.
Or if you're there late.
And again,
Or
you
if you're
don't
there
know
late.
that the judge is going to give you,
Okay.
the judge might say, okay, we don't have time. We can only do 15 minutes or
Right.
30 minutes.
Okay, so going back to Fulton County on the high school grade standard of A through F, how do you rate Fulton County?
F.
For food, F.
No.
Oh, I agree.
I would do a D because if you have enough time, you can walk over to buy 5 Points, and there's a ton of restaurants, and there's a great deli place that I like to go to.
If you have enough time.
If you have enough time. And
All
then
right,
the
Cobb County food, how do you rate it? A through F?
A plus.
A plus. I'm happy with Cobb.
A minus.
Oh,
That's
there's
because you
always
haven't walked far enough. There's actually more stuff on the other
there's
edges
always
too.
a naysayer in this group.
There's
okay.
No.
there's
there's
also a
only-
great cupcake place.
There's also a contrarian.
There's
Okay,
only
yes.
one county that, in my book, that gets an A plus.
Yeah, we'll get there.
What county is that?
That's Spalding County for the
No.
Oink Joint.
Oh, you're going to
Pike
Pike
County.
County.
Pike,
All right,
whatever.
all right. Stop. All right. Now, next, we're going to move all the way over to the east. Atlanta's second largest county, Gwinnett County. Also,
Third?
Fulton, Cobb.
no, Cobb is third, I said.
Oh, okay.
Gwinnett is number 2 by population. It's just a little bit smaller than Fulton. Both of them have over 1 million. And Gwinnett is the largest county by land mass, which is appropriate because Button Gwinnett, one of the original signers of the Declaration of Independence, in all the pictures of the signers, he's the fattest dude there. He was a big dude. So Gwinnett County has something that we don't see that much anymore. What is that?
They have a full-blown
They have a-
cafeteria.
And it's a good cafeteria.
It
Really
is.
is.
They have an inside cafeteria. It's extremely good. It's recently gone all digital, so there's no people there, which drives the old people crazy.
Right.
But tell me this, what's the drawback of the Gwinnett County cafeteria?
It gets crowded.
No, you're sitting 5 feet away from your opposing party and opposing counsel while you're eating lunch.
Right,
fair.
and that you're not wrong. You're both right. It gets crowded because it's good. You have to watch what you say because people can hear you. The other thing is it's not open all day.
Sure.
Okay. Now, yes, Jimmy?
Well, and also on that same point, just got done with a week-long jury trial in Gwinnett. Had jurors literally
All
all
around.
around our table. And my
Gotta be
client-
careful.
And so my client and I are talking like this.
Yeah.
Or you and your client could leave. So here's my next question. Has anybody here ever left Gwinnett County during lunch to go eat?
No.
Because the cafeteria is so good.
Yeah.
Well, no, there's not really anything convenient to the
Right.
courthouse that's
Well,
quick.
I thought the same thing. And
I disagree because
I do
there's
too.
a lot in downtown Lawrenceville right there.
The square?
It's just a
Here's
stone's
the
throw
deal.
away.
Here's the
That's
deal.
true.
Gwinnett County is hemmed in by that huge parking lot, and then
Yep.
you see trees, and there's a walking path. I actually went on Google Maps and measured it because I thought it was so far. I was wrong. Jimmy's right. The walk to the decent restaurants in Lawrenceville is between a half to 3/4 of a mile.
Okay, you can't do that in heels.
Not in heels.
No, I understand that, but I also know that there's not only does Alexa carry a gun in her purse, she carries flats usually.
Not in the courthouse. It stays in the car. But yes, I do carry
Are
flats.
we talking about the flats
The
or the
gun,
gun?
not the flats.
Right.
The flats
So-
come with me. You're right.
So if you were to walk into Lawrenceville, I'll tell you right now, the Universal Joint at the corner of Pike and Perry Street, great burgers. Great. I go there all the time with Kim DeMecki and Jim Wall, a Lawrenceville attorney. It's one of our favorite places. Have you been there?
I don't think so.
Jimmy?
I don't think so.
No? Well, check it out next time. But so before we get off Gwinnett, A through F, how does it rate?
A plus, but also
B.
there's one other thing to know about Gwinnett. They also have microwaves. So if you bring your own food or if you pack something,
Right.
you can microwave your stuff there.
No kidding.
No kidding.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
No?
All right.
I still
now,
give
do
it
you
a B.
Do you? I agree with Patty. I wouldn't give it the A plus Cobb gets because
Sure.
you have to walk to alternative food. But the cafeteria, if you just judge county courthouses by cafeteria, it's an A plus. 'cause
Agreed.
Nobody's close.
Yep, agreed.
However,
The only one that would be close, and it's not a county. It's the Northern District of Georgia because they got a cafeteria.
Oh, they do. They have
in
a
the
great
federal
cafeteria.
courthouse.
Which I did not even think to include because we don't do, well, we do an aspect of
Some.
family law there.
And-
But before we digress too much, snacks or no snacks to Gwinnett
Still
County?
snacks.
Still
Oh,
snacks.
I think that
That's a
globally,
blanket.
always snacks.
Okay.
And also Gwinnett does get extra props for pure convenience.
All right.
One
And
thing-
good judges.
Well,
Yes,
yeah,
ma'am.
but also to go to the snacks thing, because I think this is kind of a universal issue. Yes, the likelihood is you're going to get lunch, but if you're going through past 5, they're not going to give you dinner. So, yes to snacks.
Agreed. It's an essential part of your packing list for
Correct.
court. Okay, the next county, again, measuring from the Fulton County Courthouse on Pryor Street, Atlanta's 4th largest county, 6 miles due east of Fulton, coming in at 775,000 people. DeKalb County.
Okay.
And if you're not from around here, the L is silent. It's DeKalb, and the A is long. It's not DeKalb. If you call it DeKalb, people will run you out
We will
of
laugh
the
at
city
you.
on a rail. So, well, how do we feel about the DeKalb County Courthouse, y'all?
I think that there is a lot of good stuff right there off Decatur Square.
Agreed.
There is, but a lot of times it's not quick.
That's the
And
that's the
half-
downside.
And half
How
the time,
far is the square away from the courthouse?
it's very close. It's
100 yards,
It's
Yeah.
probably
if that.
closer than the Marietta Square is to the
Or
Cobb County
comparable,
Courthouse.
yeah.
But that gets very crowded. Some of the restaurants, like half the time, they're just not open at lunchtime for whatever reason.
They do a better dinner.
They do. They
a
do.
dinner business. No, but on these, I guess you call it the mall out there, Raging Burrito for lunch.
been.
I like Raging
I
Burrito.
wouldn't go
Never
to
been.
Raging Burrito at nighttime with friends or family. I definitely courthouse fare during the day. I'd go there.
Was
You
that
know
where
what
we
my-
went during our last jury trial in DeKalb?
It was.
You know what my favorite is right there? Sweet Melissa's.
Sweet Melissa's closed about 3 years ago.
It's
I haven't
gone.
been to the DeKalb County Courthouse in quite a while. Just
Sweet
obviously.
Melissa's,
at least not for lunch.
Sweet Melissa's going back like 20 years would be my go-to place, especially in the morning because they were open for breakfast. They shut down a few years ago, and not because of COVID or bad business. The owners just decided they wanted to do something else.
Oh, that hurts my heart.
Well, it does, but I'll tell you, the Thai place, there's Siam Thai,
Place is great.
very good. But also, don't forget, there's a very, very good and well-run Chick-fil-A on the same corner as the courthouse,
Yep.
and it usually draws huge crowds at lunch, which means other places aren't as crowded.
I have a bone to pick with that Chick-fil-A though. Years and years and years ago, I was mediating, or I was in court, and I was in court on 2 cases in the same day, same courtroom, and I had to mediate both of them because that was when they would send you out with a mediator. So I mediate both of them. I didn't get lunch that day. So I'm leaving the courthouse. I am starving because I didn't pack snacks then. This was like 2014. I was new, wasn't great. And I get in the car and I drive to the Chick-fil-A, and I was convinced, I'm like, I'm gonna get a chicken Caesar wrap. And I got to the drive-thru, and I learned that very shortly before that day, about a week before, Chick-fil-A stopped serving the chicken Caesar wrap.
That's when you know you're old, when
was
Chick-fil-A
heartbroken.
doesn't have stuff that they used to have.
I was heartbroken.
Okay.
It was the saddest day ever. I called
used
Jimmy.
to get the chicken Caesar
Okay.
wrap.
So good.
Now, before
Bring
we
it
leave
back.
DeKalb, help me out. There used to be a concession in the basement that had those Jamaican
Meat
spicy
pies.
meat pies. Is that place still open?
I have no idea.
With the blind guy who would run it.
Oh, he was awesome. He
And now,
was awesome.
I don't know if the place is still running, and I need to drive out there and find out.
I don't know.
But anyway,
Whoever has
how
the
would
case
you rate?
next.
How would you rate DeKalb for food?
B plus.
B.
B plus.
Yeah,
B,
I'd put it in the B
plus.
range.
Yeah.
I'd agree. All right. Again, from 185 Pryor Street, Fulton County, we're going to go 18 miles due south
Oh, boy.
to Georgia's 6th largest county by population with 300,000 people, Clayton County. As I have named it, the Mogadishu of Atlanta metro counties, the failed state of Atlanta metro counties, because it's that bad.
It's rough. It's
as,
rough.
as I say, friends don't let friends go to Clayton County. Talk to me, Patty.
Pack double snacks.
Yes.
Double snacks, yeah.
The courthouse is a beautiful building.
From the outside.
From the
And-
sure.
And they
yes.
used to have they would have somebody bring in Chick-fil-A sandwiches, and you could get a Chick-fil-A sandwich.
Well, the
but
Chick-fil-A's
that's
right
it.
up the road.
If ever there was a county
Yeah,
that
like
needed
4
food
miles.
trucks in the parking lot, because there is nothing to walk to,
Yep.
and you have to drive a couple miles either way just to find like a Burger King.
or a Chick-fil-A or whatever.
Somebody needs to get food trucks in that parking lot.
That'd be
Excellent
awesome.
idea.
Isn't
Because
it?
they have a big parking lot too. They would be a really good
Now,
spot for that.
food trucks would lose business in Cobb.
Yeah.
Fulton County food trucks out front would work.
Yeah, but there's no place for them. That's, the problem.
True. But
County's
Clayton's got the space
they've got
and the
the
need,
space.
because it's a sad face. How do you rate Clayton County, A through F?
Oh, F.
Yep, it's as low as you can
The
get.
It's
last
bad.
time that I went to Clayton County. That was literally the only redeeming thing, was that they brought in a bunch of Chick-fil-A sandwiches for sale for lunch. Also, that same trip, walk into the men's room, somebody had kicked one of the urinal partitions off of the wall. It's just laying on the floor.
Right.
And then had also punched or kicked one of the soap dispensers, which had that nasty,
Somebody had a
cheap
bad day in court.
Yeah.
pink soap that was just all over.
Oh, I bet it smelled like pink soap too,
it
didn't
smelled
it?
like pink
Well,
soap.
now wait a second though, because last time I was in Clayton County, which has probably been 6 months ago, I was talking to our good friend Kathleen Stern, who runs
her.
who
ADR.
runs their ADR office down there. And she says they don't have the Chick-fil-A sandwiches anymore, but they do have a vendor that brings in. They're kind of like these meat and 3 kind of meals.
Lean cuisines.
No. But she says that they're like $5 or $6. She says they're actually really good. Yeah, because she was trying to push that on me, and I was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave.
And before I forget, howdy, Kathleen Stern. I miss you. Got to call you.
Yeah, we miss you.
All
a
right,
lot.
now switching topics.
And Lisa Jackson works with Kathleen now down in Clayton.
Hey, Lisa. Okay, switching topics. 41 miles north of the Fulton County Courthouse,
Forsyth.
Georgia's 7th largest county, also around 300,000 people, Cherokee County. Cherokee County
All right.
on the Canton Square, which is very nice. What do y'all think about food up there?
There's some good food around there.
Talk to me.
There's a restaurant, I can't remember the name. I got a really great salad.
What kind
but
of
I went
food?
in there, like American food. It
Was
was,
it
a sit-down
Queenie's?
place. I don't think so.
Queenie's is on Main Street.
It might have been. I got a really good salad.
Traditional. Now, next to Queenie's is my go-to place, a place called Going Coastal Seafood.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
that was,
great. You know
that's
that
where
place.
I went last time I had
Yeah,
trial
it's
up
right
there.
on Main Street, which is just south of the courthouse, maybe 150 yards. And in the morning, if you arrive, there's a Panera also on the extreme east end of Main Street, which is a Panera breakfast. It's a
Yep.
great place to meet your client, have coffee, and go through things before you go to court.
Yeah, client and I both got, I believe, shrimp and grits at that place, and it was very good.
At Panera?
Oh, wait a minute. I went
No,
somewhere.
weird.
Hold on a sec. I walked somewhere from the Cherokee County Courthouse not that long ago with a client in the middle of a trial day, and it was an Italian restaurant, and they made all their own pasta. It was fantastic.
Oh my goodness.
The most
Oh, it was
Oh, it
important.
was so good.
Look, by far the most important thing about Cherokee County and being in Canton is you go down the hill to Mitch's Archery.
Heck yeah.
Okay.
Buy a
Do
new
they
bow.
serve food?
But
No.
no, you can buy a new bow.
No,
Get some arrows.
he sells Matthews bows.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
where Alexa and I both got our hunting bows from.
If
The
you-
dude is awesome.
If you and
He
I
is.
go
if
up
you
there,
need a hunting or target bow,
if you and I,
Mitch.
Jimmy, if you and I go up to Matthews Archery and I bring a big old apple, can I shoot it off your head?
no. I might let Mitch shoot it off my head, but
Right,
not you.
definitely not Steve.
All right. So again, now going back to Fulton County and moving 30 miles south, we're getting to Georgia's 10th largest county with about 250,000, Henry County, the home of Georgia Court of Appeals Judge Trey Pipkin, my friend, Henry County. Also on the McDonough Square. Good, bad? What do you think about?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. What do you like about Henry County's food?
There's
Grits.
a pizza place right around
I like
there.
grits.
Yeah, grits is good, but there's
You're-
a pizza place right around
You're
there. too.
both correct. The Grits is on
hey.
Macon Street, which is on the east side of the square. So the courthouse is on the north side of the square. So just as you walk out of the courthouse to your left, the east side is Macon Street is where Grits is. Grits is an old-style Southern cafeteria. Hamburgers, chicken,
Good
and great
breakfast.
T-shirts. If you haven't been to Grits and gotten a T-shirt, I think my daughter's got about 15 Grits shirts.
Yeah.
Right.
One of the last times I was in Henry, we had actually basically been told, "Hey, with other cases on the calendar, come back in a couple hours," which provided us perfect opportunity. Grab a second breakfast at Grits.
It also
Because
gave
of course we talked about fuel before court.
And I was actually the only one who ate.
It also
right.
gave someone else a wonderful opportunity, and that someone else is Macon Street Tacos, which is the
Oh.
place I think you're talking about. That's right next door.
I've not been there.
That's
Yeah.
in that's in
No,
McDonough?
that's in Henry.
McDonough. It's right next to Grits.
Macon Street
and
Tacos.
Macon Street Tacos, which is very, very good. And on the other side of Macon Street Tacos, it's a little bit off topic, is the Georgian Gallery, which is a superior art gallery. We need to
Do
take
they
a
serve
trip.
food?
No. We need to take a trip down there and buy some art because the stuff down there is fabulous. But
Okay.
how would you rate Henry County, A through F?
B plus.
B.
B plus.
Yeah.
And I'd only say B plus because sometimes those restaurants can get crowded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no food at all in the courthouse itself except for
Yep.
some vending machines. All right.
Yeah.
All right, and the last one we're going to do, but I'll after that we'll hold for honorable mentions. We do a good amount of work in Columbus, Georgia, Muscogee County, the 12th largest county in Georgia with about 200,000 people, 108 miles southeast of Atlanta City Center. I will have to say this, home of the great attorney Scott Sykes and his wonderful wife Jenny, good friends of ours, good dude. I like Scott, have a lot in common with him. So let's talk about the Muscogee County Courthouse. Alexa, you're a veteran of the Muscogee County
I
Courthouse.
am. I have been there many times.
What do you think about, and you've seen Scott there a bunch of
I
times.
have several times.
What do you think about the food there?
It's not easily accessible from the courthouse.
I disagree.
Well, yeah, but you're not wearing heels.
That's
See,
true.
that's what you don't
Yeah.
remember. You're not wearing
Well,
heels.
that's because Steve packs his flats.
Yeah, I'm not
He
wearing
takes
heels.
his heels off. He puts his flats
I'm not
on.
wearing
and
heels
he's-
lately, not
Well.
since my college days. But the point being is that I also, in preparation for this episode, mapped it out
Mm-hmm.
to double check it. And of course, all the food down there next to the courthouse is on Broadway,
Yep.
the north-south street that runs north-south. But it's a quarter mile from the courthouse,
Mm-hmm.
which is not terribly far to walk unless it's August.
Well,
But when you're on Main Street, where do you eat?
oh man, there's a really great Italian place. You can get a really good like a meatball sandwich and stuff. There's some sushi
Barbaritos.
places. There's a Barbaritos.
Mm-hmm.
But my preference when I'm in Muscogee County is hopefully I'm going to go late enough that I drive over and have dinner at 11 a day.
Okay,
That's my preference.
If you are at Shewmaker and Lewis and you're in Muscogee County and you're there for dinner, you go to 11th and Bay
Yep.
and you call Amy Walters,
Yeah,
the most
absolutely.
fabulous guardian ad litem in Columbus, Georgia. And I mean, I was down there one day. I can't remember if it was a military case or state, but I called Amy on like 5 minutes notice. She shows up at 11th and Bay,
Yep.
and Amy can drink some booze because she slammed down a whole bunch of drinks on the Shewmaker Lewis credit card.
Woman
I'll tell
after
you
my
what.
own.
Hey, good people.
And back to lunch, don't forget the Agave Bar
Oh yeah.
and Mama Goldberg's. Very, very good. How would you rate Muscogee County?
Hey, you know where Mama Goldberg started?
Auburn.
I'd
eaten there.
give him a B.
Oh, B only because you have to walk.
Yeah, only
Yeah.
because you have to walk.
Okay, but the food's great.
Listen,
Yeah.
the food itself is excellent.
All right, now that rounds out the county, the top 10 or 12, and the ones that we go to the most. But I think, Patty, you had a couple honorable mentions.
I do as well.
Yeah, I mean, because here's the question. The question is, are there cases that you would take just because of the county it's
Yes.
in, because of the restaurants?
I have
Yes.
actually said to a judge, I know the case is in Spalding, and the judge said, yeah, but on that day I'm in Pike County, and
Great.
I've said I'll be in Pike.
Yeah.
Why?
Because right across the street, you go out the front doors of the courthouse, you walk across the street, the Oink Joint. And when you go to the Oink Joint, you get a pulled pork burrito, which is amazing.
It's amazing. It is
And I've heard about
amazing.
it for years. I've never been to
All
Pike
right.
County.
We need
so
to go
next time we have a case.
We need to go down there.
Let me tell you how good the pulled pork is at the Oink Joint. I have seen ardent Muslims and Jews walk in there and convert. Okay, they are eating pork.
They
I'll
have
tell
one
you
in
right now.
Coweta as well.
What?
There is an Oink Joint in Coweta County as
I
well.
wonder if it's the same or if it's just
They have the potato and the
I-
things.
No.
and things-
This
Okay.
is
No.
we're talking. This is a pulled pork burrito, and they deep fat fry it, and then it has like. then it has, like-
Patty,
has,
wipe
like-
your
Yeah,
face.
you're
You're
drooling
drooling.
a little bit.
Excuse me.
It has like coleslaw in it, and then it
Excuse
has like
me.
cheese sauce on top. And
It's
like
owned, but it's the
jalapenos.
same company.
It is?
It's the same company.
Okay.
Yes,
You
I know
checked?
that. I did.
I have two. I have two we haven't talked about.
What are they?
The Rockdale County Courthouse. Come out of the Rockdale County Courthouse at the front door, go left. There's like this orangey, pinkish, salmony colored house. It is a taco place. It is immaculate. It is so good. They have tons of different kinds of tacos.
And I forgot to put it on my list, but
And-
I looked it up this morning.
And I don't know the name of the place, but I know where it is, and I know
Okay.
I'm going if
Taco
I'm in
place.
Rockdale County. And then, oh man, hold on, I lost it. Forsyth County, come out of the courthouse.
the Mexican place.
The Mexican place. Oh my
yeah.
God, it's kind of like a grocery store slash
That's right.
little cafe area.
It's a Mexican. It's a
This is the
full-blown
place that's
Mexican
on the right
grocery.
when you're coming
yeah.
in to the courthouse.
Yes.
Where you're driving in.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, and it is fantastic.
Absolutely.
Authentic Mexican
All right.
food.
Whenever I'm up in Forsyth and I'm who am I dealing with up there that I always like to do battle with? The juvenile prosecutor. Now I can't
I have
remember.
no
her name.
idea.
I'm drawing
That's
a
okay.
blank.
That's all
All right.
right.
Our producer is telling us to wrap it
Yeah,
up.
he's
Oh, we
like,
better
"Geez,
wrap
come
it
on,
up."
guys.
All right. Hey.
He's starving now.
All
That's
right,
what's happening.
Shewmaker and Lewis, Lawyers Without Billboards. And if your attorney's not thinking about food,
What
you
are
don't
they
have
doing?
the right attorney.
What are they doing?
Peace out.
That's it for this episode of Lawyers Without Billboards. If you found this episode helpful, make sure to follow and subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. For more resources or to get in touch with us, visit shewmakerandlewis.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.